The LG Procast, the podcast, is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views or opinions expressed by the podcast hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect the official position of LG. For the latest and most accurate information about LG products, please consult relevant product manuals and related documentation. The information provided in this podcast episode is for informational purposes only and does not constitute professional advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, we make no representation or warranties of any kind, express or implied, about the completeness, accuracy, reliability, or suitability of the information for any specific application in the following discussion. LG and those posting or otherwise providing information, content, or material are not responsible or liable for any consequences relating directly or indirectly to any action or inaction you take based on the information, content, or other material on the podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the LG Procast. Thanks for being here for another episode with us. My name is Phillip Craigbaum. My co-host Terry Fresendez here with us. Terry, how are you today?
Phillip, I'm great, man. Thanks for getting up and doing this today. We appreciate it. I know we've traveled this week, you and I, and we travel again next week, you and I. And so, somehow, somewhere we managed to stick this remote podcast in there. So it's good to be here. We got a unique and special guest today with us. And I'll let Gautham introduce himself. But Gautham, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, Terry. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. My name is Gautham Devarakonda. I'm the product development manager at the US R&D team. And I primarily manage the hydronic heating solutions at LG, which includes the heat pump water heater, AWHPs, which are the air-to-water heat pumps, and hydronic fan coil units. And I also manage the recent DOE RTU challenge that LG has participated in. And I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. So as we look for topics and we look for things to discuss, the rooftop unit, the RTU came to mind as something that we're excited as a company to launch, and so we're like, hey, let's reach out and let's get this group on the podcast and let's talk to the folks across the country about what LG is doing. First thing that I think we want to talk about is you guys have been participating in a DOE challenge for rooftop units I won't steal your thunder, but from what I understand, that's 60 or 70% of the usage of power in commercial spaces is rooftop units. And our federal government is looking for ways to improve those efficiencies and reduce electrical consumption and just do a better job with that side. So tell us a little bit about that challenge, if you don't mind, Gautham, and what's going on in it.
So you're right. So the rooftop units are a significant portion of U.S. commercial building power consumption. Primarily, especially in the cold climate regions, they're still reliant on gas heating systems to provide heating to big retail stores, warehouses, schools, and other commercial applications. So I believe they've tried to use heat pump RTUs before in the same cold climate markets, but with the limitations on the technology back then, there were issues with capacity droppings, efficiencies being lower than expected, relying more on backup heating. So what DOE did was they wanted to challenge the manufacturers to come up with technology that would provide good high heating efficiencies and capacities even at low ambient conditions, and they devised a challenge around that. LG is one of the 8 or 9 manufacturers that is participating in this challenge, which includes independent laboratory testing to a standard that is developed by subject matter experts at DOE at national laboratories like NREL and PNNL. And we've successfully finished the laboratory testing of it, right? So the next part, they also want to make sure the technology we are introducing as part of this challenge, even though we are testing a prototype, we want to make sure this technology is ready to go into market, right? So they want to provide a proof of concept to big retail stores and building portfolio owners that this technology could be put on their rooftops. So what they've done is they've reached out to a lot of big retail stores. I can't name the names because of confidentiality reasons. And they've requested to install these prototype units on their sites to gather live field data to show that heat pump RTUs can deliver the capacities, can deliver the efficiencies even in cold climate regions. So as part of that, LG has already installed one of their units in a major US retail store. And we're also on track to install our second unit at a different place. One was installed in Indiana, the other one is going to be installed in Washington State. So once we have the testing in the field will happen over a period of 2 years. And the aim is at the end of the 2-year period, you have lab validation that the heat pump RTUs will work. And then you also have field validation over a 2-year period, which covers 2 winters and 2 summers, and hopefully prove that the technology that we're introducing is ready to go to market and potentially replace all the gas heating RTUs that the major commercial retail stores use.
What was the temperature requirement for the challenge for the laboratory portion, I assume?
So what they devised, there's a couple of aspects to the lab challenge. One is the performance verification and one is the controls verification. So the performance verification is the challenge is to have the capacity to not diminish at low ambient conditions, let's say 5 degrees Fahrenheit and negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So what they have challenged the manufacturers to do is to provide a capacity of 100% heating capacity at 5 degrees Fahrenheit. So without any use of backup heating, so to say. So all of these units or prototypes can have backup heating, either electric backup heating or gas backup heating. But primarily they wanted the units to achieve 100% heating capacity at 5 degrees Fahrenheit without the use of backup heating. And LG was able to do that and exceed the expectations on that.
That's exciting.
So it kind of follows our residential and commercial heat pump lineup, where we have those products that are 100% capacity at 5 degrees. So which to your point, Gautham, I mean, we met that. We're getting pretty good at doing that, right, across our entire product line.
Right. And the interesting thing is, even at negative 10 degrees, the challenge specification required the manufacturers to be at least at 70% of the rated capacity. We hit 75%, so we exceeded the expectations by over 5%. So our unit performed really, really well. And one of the key aspects of our unit is it's very compact. So the unit, the footprint is minimal, and then we are able to achieve high capacities at 5 degrees Fahrenheit and negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And even our COPs, when you compare to the baseline requirement from DOE and the challenge specifications, we've exceeded the COP at 5 degrees and negative 10 degrees by almost 14 to 20%. So
Wow.
it was an exciting challenge, and the testing proved that LG's prototype exceeded what DOE expected manufacturers to do.
That's pretty exciting.
That is exciting, right?
Yeah. What tonnage did they use in the test? Just curious. How big of a system was that?
So the initial challenge was pretty broad. So they asked manufacturers to pick a size between 10 and 25 ton, I believe. We participated in the lower tonnage category. So our RTU was rated for 10 tons.
Okay, cool.
It was a 10-ton test, which I know, coming from my distribution background, 7.5 and 10 tons, certainly the lion's share of what distribution partners sell across the country from a replacement, drop-in replacement status. So as far as I'm concerned, we hit the nail on the head with a 10-ton testing.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of jumped straight into the meat of the challenge, which I think is cool. But Terry, maybe we want to just back up for a second, and that's a little bit of a longer term play, is having the cold climate model. But what everybody may not be aware of is that this is coming sooner than later. You know, being a foreign manufacturer, I've had conversations with countless contractors and people that are, hey, where are you manufacturing this? Where are you manufacturing this? And obviously we want to bring as much manufacturing here to the US as we can to support our local economy and our, hire men and women from the United States to manufacture these units. And this is one of the, and we've got other units being manufactured in Huntsville, but I just want to highlight that because that's exciting. You know, when I travel around the country, you know, one of the places that I've been is Middle Tennessee, and the men and women, I mean, we make tons and tons of our washing machines there, and it's a huge part of that economy. And I think we're going to do something similar there in the Huntsville, Alabama market. And this is one of those big products. And when you look at it from a logistical standpoint, rooftop units are very large and there's a lot of empty space in them. So shipping them from overseas doesn't make near as much sense on a product like that. So I'm excited that we're bringing that manufacturing to Huntsville and that we're going to be able to support the local men and women there in that economy. And then, of course, just the logistics of having them close by. Shipping times are going to drop dramatically. So that's pretty exciting, and sounds like we've got some great stuff coming ahead.
Let me pile on there for just a second. So, you know, I was with Phillip earlier this week, and we'll be with Phillip again next week, doing some educational stuff. And the power to stand in front of a group of contractors and distributors and partners and say, we make this product in the U.S., okay? The parts are supported in the U.S. It's a very exciting thing for me to see us invest in our country the way we are.
Yeah, and we've said it, but I want to kind of drive home the point. This is an LG product. This is not another manufacturer that we're just going to slap a label on and rebrand it as LG. This is designed by LG, manufactured by LG. This is a full-on LG product from top to bottom. And it's going to have all of our high technology in it, which is why people like Gautham and his team can go to challenges like the DOE and not just meet the challenge, but actually exceed the requirements there. It's really cool when we can see that happening from a manufacturer who has traditionally not necessarily been in that sector of the market. You know, we've been making heat pumps for years. We've just never made them in that shape. So we just have to change the shape of the box and how it's configured, but you get all the technology that LG's perfected over many, many decades. And now we're changing the shape of the box a little bit and going after that sector of the market. And to Terry's point at the opening, you know, we haven't necessarily completely changed our focus. I mean, we still make VRF and we still make mini splits, but the prioritization of our unitary line has got a lot of focus right now from LG, from our leadership, all the way up to our upper management in Korea, that the United States unitary market is going to be a major piece of development for us. And this just is another piece of that development.
I think the idea is to go all the way up to 25 ton in terms of the size and footprint. And eventually we want to launch products that have the cold climate performance as well. Again, just to emphasize on trying to make it easy for installers and other folks who are working on our products. The US R&D team is pretty new. So LG has invested into hiring R&D team here in US. And one of our primary roles is to go into the field as engineers, to go interact with installers, contractors who work day in and day out on all these products, observe their installation practices live in the field and learn from them and understand their pain points, and not just working on energy products, right, on other products as well, and to see where we as manufacturers can make their lives easy and make their process of installing this equipment in the field easier, right? Access to data, access to information on their phones, for example. So we've inculcated a lot of that feedback from these folks who are working on these products every day, and we're trying to make a product easier for them to operate on, and that's been a primary focus for the US R&D team as well.
That's great to hear, because I mean I've worked on units and I've been with other guys that are working on units on rooftops a little bit in my career, and there's certain brands that my guys are just like, I hate working on those because I can't ever get these doors to go back on, or just little things like that, or I have to take this door off and then it tears the roof or something like that. And so just to know that we're taking the time to go out there and make sure that when we bring this product to market, that it's the best product that it can be, is really, really important and exciting for me. So, we're not targeting the super entry level. We're targeting that mid tier, is my understanding, that mid tier efficiency for the initial offering. And then obviously what your team's working on, especially, is that high efficiency cold climate model. And that'll be kind of a next phase to what we're doing. But just like we've done with our residential equipment and everything else, we're continuing to expand that lineup. So just the initial offering of what we have in Q2 or Q3 is that's just a sample to kind of get our feet wet and to get started. I mean, we got to start somewhere, right? We can't day one produce 3 tons to 25 tons. I mean, that's not realistic.
No.
So let's start with something. Let's make sure that we're very good at it, that we get good at all the back end stuff that we need to do, and then, grow from there. So I'm excited. I have a little bit of experience with Rooftop, so I'm excited to really be able to grow that sector of our company.
Gautham, will we in turn manufacture the accessories in Huntsville? Do you know that? Will we build economizers and hoods and different things like that in the factory? Or
so we are developing accessories right now. The secondary electric backup heating and economizers and whatnot. I'm not entirely sure if they are sourced locally in US or are they being manufactured in US. I know for economizers, we are working with a couple of distributors within the US to provide the customers the options. I don't think we're developing that in Huntsville specifically.
Okay. Well, it will make sense. So, I mean, there's plenty of economizers and sheet metal companies in Huntsville alone that could make that kind of stuff. So,
but all the control logic that's required to have the RTU work with economies is already built in. So the physical component itself is being sourced outside.
Yeah, really, the controls are the key to making it work well and to be very efficient. So that's the big side of it.
So one of the challenges we experienced, when we're talking to, again, we had a lot of conversations with building owners and other stakeholders within the space. One of the challenges is if we have a heat pump unit with all electric backup heating, the electrical load available on the roof at that particular site may not be enough to sustain both the heat pump and the electric heat backup heating. So in some of those cases, you need to have gas backup heating, and that's one of the reasons why we want to develop a solution so we can offer any customer any kind of solution they want while moving towards the sustainability goal of it, where we are introducing heat pump models, which will do the major chunk of the heating and cooling that is required. But when it gets really, really cold, when gas heating or backup heating is required, we still have the option of using gas backup heating.
So that's a powerful, very powerful statement right there, because the messaging to our leadership team from Phillip and myself and our peers, if we want to be a player, LG wants to be a player in this, legacy, U.S. market, things like that statement have to be available. We have to have an option for not having to add electrical service upgrade to put this package unit on a roof, which means we got to come back with gas and heat pump. So, but that, to me, that's a very strong statement from you and our direction as a company that shows that we're committed to being, a provider in this market space.
Yeah, and Terry, and I think the message to our customer base is, and I've heard it already talking to guys who are like, what are you coming out with? And I tell them a little bit about it, and they're like, oh, well, I need a gas pack. I think the message is hang tight. Like,
right.
The very first 3 models that we introduce may not fit your climate. You may not be a customer in Upper Peninsula, Michigan with the very first group that we put out, because maybe they can't produce the heat that you need, and you need a gas pack, or you need a cold climate pack, or I need this size. The message that I'd like to say is hang tight. Like, we're working on it. We're not going to have everything day one, but it is definitely a direction that you're going to see LG growing in. And just keep your eyes open, because there's going to be some products sooner than later.
I think a perfect example of that, Phillip, is our chiller space, right? I mean, I remember when we introduced our first chiller here in the country a few years back, and everyone's like, "Oh, we need this. Oh, we need that. Oh, we need this." And it's like, time out, right? We got to get a chiller number one here first, right? And so there's a focus. Let's get that chiller. So same strategy here, to Phillip's point. Can't be everything all at once. You got to get in here, get started, put a product on the floor, put it in the distributor warehouses, put it on some rooftops, and then we go. And then we start to hunt. So.
Yep. Very cool. Well, Gautham, I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us for a few minutes. I think we covered everything that I wanted to get into. Is there anything else that you just want to make sure our audience hears about before we wrap up today?
No, thanks for having me again. I just want to go back on the challenge specification really quick. And like I said, the DOE has developed specific metrics around measuring efficiency. They don't do SEERs and HSBFs too. I think starting 2029, they're replacing that with a new metric, and that is what we tested our products to. And like I said, we've consistently hit or exceeded the expectations that were set by the challenge administrators. So it's an exciting part of the challenge. We are right now making sure the units are installed in field, running properly, collecting live data from it. I also want to mention that these prototypes are demand flexible. So in the field, there is an option for the grid companies to control the RTUs based on the grid load, right? So this is something that's already been introduced in heat pump water heaters and also some of the residential unitary products as well. So what we actually do is, through an open ADR platform, our controls are able to respond to requests from grid to either ramp up or ramp down the power consumption and the heating loads. And we're already working on a proof of concept for that functionality as well. So a lot of activities going on. But the first step was to pass the laboratory testing, which we did. And then the second phase would be the field testing, and then followed by the grid flexibility functionality as well.
Very cool. When did it go out into the field for the field testing? Do you know when that started?
So we've already installed one of the units in November. So the timeline was to do the lab testing first, followed by field testing. But because of various reasons, we had to do it in reverse way. So we already installed the unit in the field. The second unit is being installed in May. So we've told DOE in our EL that we're ready to donate two units to install in the field to gain insights into operations in different climate zones, and they were more than happy to accommodate us and give us 2 sites to install the unit. And so the second unit will be doing will go into the field probably in May. For sure.
In May, okay. So we've had one in there all winter up in Indiana, so that's exciting. Well, great, man. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Terry, anything else from you before we head out of here?
No, I'm excited. Just another product that fits my drive to be a unitary provider for our country. And so here's just another piece that's gonna make us fit and give us an opportunity to do business with our distribution partners across the country. So Gautham, thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, guys, I think that's about it for today's episode. Terry, thanks for being here. Gautham, really enjoyed meeting you and getting to hear about some of the exciting stuff that's going on at LG with the rooftops and participating in the DOE challenge. So lots of great stuff today. Guys, again, thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you next time on the LG Procast. Bye now.
Until then, see you.